Okay, so I made this Google Doc with like a bunch of black artists because I thought it'd be cool. So right, we've got the doc. I'm also gonna put this in my my link in bio. But yeah, I just divided it by visual art, film, TV, video, and then writing. And there's only one writing, so if you have writing, please add it. And I found even more artists and resources today that I haven't gotten to look through, so I'll add those too. But most of these artists I learned about in my class this past semester. So this artist, Carrie Mae Weems, wait, I think I spelled her name wrong. She's really, really cool. From this piece, I learned a lot about the photographs that were, like, most of these that I used in my Mapplethorpe doc, and they were actually taken by a, like, Harvard zoology professor in the 19th century, where he just went around to plantations and took photographs of slaves for Harvard, and Harvard owns the images, so, and like to use them you have to pay. So Carrie Mae Weems, she just kind of took the photographs without permission, and then Harvard tried suing her, and she was like, please sue me, like, I dare you, like, we can have a conversation about how you're profiting off of slavery still. I don't remember what year this was made, but she has a lot of other cool works. There's this photo series of hers. In this whole thing I have like videos and audio and lots of cool things. So yeah, this the kitchen table series is one of her like most famous works too. And she has like even more stuff on her website. So yeah, super cool. There's videos for talking about her stuff too, so I recommend checking that out. And then there's this painting, and my professor showed this to us, and I don't remember what she said, if it's like the first like portrait of black people. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it has something to do with that. But it's from 1599, and it's a commissioned portrait of Don Francisco, who was like the ruler of this Maroon Society. So it has to do with like the Spanish and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a really cool painting, and in Google Arts and Culture you could see like the high quality version of it along with like all kinds of other art things, so I recommend going on Google Arts and Culture. This artist is really, really cool. She has like even more work, of course. She does a lot with like multimedia and uses gold and like all these different techniques, and she uses photographs and paintings of herself in a lot of these works. So these are two of them, and there's actually like a lawsuit kind of thing because in the All the Stars music video, like Kendrick Lamar's. Okay, here. This stuff. It's like the same. It's the same. It's the same. But yeah, so that was like a whole like lawsuit kind of thing. Oh, also with Carrie Mae Weems, one of the descendants of the slaves that was photographed by Louis Agassiz, the Harvard guy, she is trying to sue Harvard or something. She's like trying to get the rights back to the photos because Harvard is still profiting off of them from today. Write a dissertation. Oh my god, I want to write a dissertation just to take a photo of me with the dissertation to put on Twitter. This artist is really cool. She's Cuban, and a lot of her work has to do with like lineage, and she does these like panel kind of things. And there's this like video of her talking about her and family in Cuba, and a lot of her work revolves around water too, and like the color blue and that kind of thing. So, oh yeah, this artist is really cool. She does things with like collage, and Dawood Bay is so cool. He has like a jillion photographs. Um, he focused like his work from the 70s, like this photograph. Um, it's like a street life in Harlem, and then he did a series with, yeah, here. There was a church bombing in Birmingham in 1963. So he got like people who were the age of the victims when they died, and then the age that they would have been today. So even though they're not, so like these two people aren't related at all, but he just wanted to make the comparison in that sense. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. And he has, yeah, this series, this like Polaroid series is really cool. And in the video that I linked, he like took senior pictures or yearbook pictures for high school students. And then the series he's working on now is landscapes of, I don't remember where it is, somewhere in the South. It's like he's taking landscapes of where the, like where like slaves would have been escaping, kind of like an underground railroad kind of thing, but with landscapes somewhere. I don't remember where it is. James Van Der Zee is really cool too. He took glamour portraits of black people in the 1920s in Harlem, which is so like astounding and cool to see. So he's really interested in like affluent and middle class black people. And this is a really cool portrait that he took. He took some portraits of like transgender people and just queer people, which is really interesting to see at this time, like so long ago. And there's also a cool photograph that he took of Basquiat, and then Basquiat like drew a portrait of him. Let me look it up. And it says like Van Der Zee, like he like wrote it in an interesting way. Lyle Ashton Harris is really cool. He does like, he kind of like explores like queer and the queer identity and blackness, and it reminds me of Marlon Riggs's Tongues Untied, which is in this doc later in a different section. And he has like a ton of work too on his website that you can find. And then Renee Cox, one of Lyle Ashton Harris's photographs is of her with this on, is the Hottentot Venus, and she did a whole series called like Rajay, which is like this like persona of hers, where it's kind of like this like black female superhero, and she has like all these different images of like Rajay in New York, and it's really interesting to see the kind of how she like played with like collage and herself, just kind of like taking, you know, like the stereotypical icons that are like Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, and turning them into like kind of really like attractive and heroic kind of things. This artist is really cool. Her works are like really big, so I'll try to find them on Google Arts and Culture to see like a high quality version. But that she uses glitter too, so that's why it's like pretty cool to see in person. Paintings, collages, Barry Jenkins, you already know, photography, like so many different things that she does. And there's a video that I have of her talking about it too. I really like this artist, and how he like makes like black skin, and in like this interview he talks about that And there's a painting of his that's in the, I don't know if it's still in the MoMA, but it was there every time that I went, of a cop. So I feel like he has like a very, very distinct style where he uses like black very specifically. This is at, or was at the MoMA too, this one. And then there's this painting that I was referring to. So, yes. And then this is another artist that I found. I don't know too much about them, but they make really cool paintings. Arthur Jaffa, I saw this at the MoMA when it reopened, and he did this. It's like a video. Well, outside of, there's like a room. Let me use my hands. There's like a room where the video was playing, and then outside of it, there were these like binders of all these images that he'd been collecting over the years. And in this video, he talks about how he's a cinematographer, so I guess, just over the years, lots of references and things like that. But this is part of it. So yeah, I recommend checking that out. It was so like surreal. I feel like a lot of the stuff in the MoMA at the time, like the video work was very like trippy, and this was one of them. And it's interesting, like the music as you're listening to it, it's like you're focusing on like one beat, and then after a while it focuses on a different one, and then the images are kind of synced up to that beat. But it's just kind of like when I walked into it, I was like, oh, these images represent black people, but then you see like Finding Nemo and like the Kardashians and really random images. So I guess it's just about like interpreting whatever, you know. Faith Ringgold, this was in the MoMA. I think it still is. This painting. She has a lot of other cool art. Like she does like this kind of quilting thing in all kinds of different mediums. So yes, Hank Willis Thomas I love so much, because I just think the way his brain works and the way he can make connections is super cool. He has a piece that's it's like the shape, the silhouette of the Absolute vodka bottle, and he compares that to this slave ship. It's so blurry, but you get the idea. And then this image he took at his cousin's funeral, and his cousin was shot over a chain. So he took that image and just like added these like prices onto it, and put the MasterCard logo on it, and then put this image on a billboard, so people thought that it was a MasterCard ad and got really mad, but it's not. There's also another one of his that's like that he put on a billboard too, that says "Make America Great Again," and the photograph is like slaves working in a field. And he has a branded series where he shows like black men branded with the Nike logo, and just kind of comparing the NBA and football to slavery. So I think it's really cool. And then this is I Am a Man, and he has like different variations of it, and it's inspired by this protest from the 50s or 60s. I don't remember what state. But he kind of took like all these protesters' signs and like kind of changed all the words, like different like variations, which is really cool. And then Basquiat's Defacement at the Guggenheim was a really cool exhibit that shook me, and I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, you can find on my website. I put the images that I took when I went there, and then I added some other pictures of works that I couldn't find. And my pictures are like on the Guggenheim's website because I didn't really have like everything. And then film, I was looking at like the Pratt video. They had like a reference thing, and I saw Do the Right Thing on the list of movies, and it was like, whoa, this is really surreal. Um, so yeah, I think this is like a really good movie to watch if you haven't seen it already. Tongues Untied is one of my favorite like films of this like experimental um, documentary genre. It's on Canopy. You can, if you're at Pratt, you can get Canopy, and through the Broward Library you can get Canopy too. Um, it's like so just all the techniques he uses. I wrote a whole essay about it. I could really go on and on, but yeah, just about black queerness in the 80s. Watermelon Woman I just watched this week and I really liked it. Also about queer blackness. Um, and yeah, I want to look up more of Cheryl Tune's work because she's really cool. Sidewalk Stories I watched in a class, and I really like this because it's, I don't know, like you don't really see black people in the silent film genre. So to have Charles Lane kind of like recreate this like Charlie Chaplin movie um, in the 80s and talking about things like homelessness and like poverty is really interesting to like kind of, and also to kind of have it be like aware, or it's like he's a homeless black man who like kind of adopts this stranded girl, which I guess if you're white, you know, it's not really looked at. But I don't know. But because he's black, there's like all of these like layers of things like that. But Black Girl, I don't remember what class I watched this in, but it's a really interesting film by this Senegalese filmmaker, and he has other cool films too. And it's free on the Criterion channel right now, and it's kind of like surreal to see. Like it's kind of like it's absurd, like how this story is told, where it's like almost the 70s, and this black woman is being treated as a slave because the white people are really dumb, and like that's kind of like the best way I can describe it. Why it's the next problem areas. I've been trying to watch this for a while, but I finally started. It's on HBO, and all of the episodes are free on YouTube right now. Um, so yeah, it's really weird watching it now because it's still relevant today in terms of policing and police brutality and gun control and all the kind of problems that still exist. Um, Random Acts of Flyness. I only watched the first episode so far, and I put off watching this for such a long time because the first episode it said something about like the police, and I was like, I can't do that right now. But I finally watched it, and it's so strange and like trippy and creative and out of the box. So I recommend for sure. Someone else added this, so I will definitely be checking that out too. Um, and then someone else added this. If you have writing, please add it because I have nothing for some weird reason. But I did add Sick Woman Theory that I read in a class. The writer isn't black, but I just thought it's really interesting to think about during this time where people are protesting, and they wrote this in 2015 during the Black Lives Matter protest, and they have a like a physical disability, so they were talking about how just the kind of like I guess what it feels like to not be able to actively speak up, and they talk about like poverty too, and there's one part where they talk about how black women aren't heard in the hospitals, and how like we're more likely to die in hospitals from giving childbirth because people don't listen. I do have a link to the doc. I'm gonna post it in my bio today or tomorrow. So yes, yes. But yeah, that's it. Um, Ash, hello. I just finished, but I'll put it on my my page, so don't worry. But yeah, this was cool. Um, I found a bunch more artists today, so I'm gonna go through them and add. And yeah, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.